Hello, Grace. Welcome back to our reading plan. Today is August 10th, and we are looking at Jeremiah 16 through 18, and then we're looking at chapter 35 as well. Now, Jeremiah is a pre-exilic prophet. He's prophesying before the exile as well as during the exile as they are taken into Babylon. Now, Jeremiah, because of this, is experiencing lots of opposition from his countrymen. He's experiencing, as we see today, people are slandering him and saying all kinds of evil things about him so that people will stop listening to him. Maybe they will frighten him enough so that he doesn't prophesy anymore. Yet prophets often experience this. Jesus says in Matthew 5, he says, if you are persecuted and people say all kinds of evil against you, rejoice and be glad, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. And I think he's looking back at Jeremiah and letting us know that if we're going to speak the truth of Christ into this world, we are going to be treated like Jeremiah as well. And so let's take a look at chapter 16. Now, chapter 16 starts by announcing the punishment. And he goes through all these different things that are going to happen. And then in verse 10, the people will ask, why has the Lord decreed such terrible things against us? What have we done to deserve such treatment? What is our sin against the Lord our God? And the Lord responds and says, your ancestors were unfaithful, but you are even worse than your ancestors. Verse 12, you stubbornly follow your own evil desires and refuse to listen to me. So I will throw you out of this land and send you into a foreign land where you and your ancestors have never been. And so this highlights the reality that their hearts just have no idea. They are not aware of their sinfulness. They are not aware of how they have come against and gone against the Lord. And he is saying, come on, guys. Look at what's going on. You're even worse than your ancestors. But then he says something that I think is important for us to hold on to in chapter 16. He says, but the time is coming when people who are taking an oath will no longer say, as surely as the Lord lives, who rescued the people out of Israel from the land of Egypt. Instead, he will say, as surely as the Lord lives, who brought Israel back from the land of the north. So he's saying, I'm going to bring you back because I have great plans and I am faithful. But until that time, I'm sending fishermen to take you out. Now, there are several key passages in this section that speak to a level of trust that the people do not have. So they're saying they're not trusting the Lord. And God is saying, if you would just turn and trust me, things would go better for you. Verse 7, chapter 17. Blessed are those who trust in the Lord and have made the Lord their hope and confidence. They are like trees planted along a riverbank with roots that reach deep into the water. Such trees are not bothered by the heat or worried by long months of drought. Their leaves stay green and they never stop producing fruit. So he's saying, look, you guys are all, everyone is being kicked out because of their unfaithfulness. But if you are going to turn back, if you are going to trust God, you're always going to bear fruit. And it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're in another country or wherever you're going, you will bear fruit. But unfortunately, he reminds us, verse 9, the human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? But I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine secret motives. I give all people their due rewards according to their actions they deserve. So again, this is this element of trust and distrust, loyalty and faithfulness versus disloyalty and unfaithfulness. And yet people are deceiving their own hearts. And I'm afraid for our own culture and our own churches that often we are deceiving ourselves, saying God will not do this, or God doesn't. We serve a God that's love. He won't condemn. He won't judge. But we see here, he's judging his own people, and he's deporting them out of the land because of their unfaithfulness. Are we being faithful to the Lord? Now, I'm going to jump to chapter 35, because Jeremiah was sent to the Rechabites. And so he brings them to the temple, and he says, hey, you need to drink some wine. But the Rechabites saying, no, we are not doing that because our ancestor Jehonadab told us not to. And so we have obeyed all those things. And God says, listen to them. They obeyed their ancestor. And I've told you again and again and again, and you have ignored me. Learn obedience like the Rechabites. And so that's the challenge for us today. Are we going to be obedient to what we already know God has taught us? Or are we searching for something that God isn't going to show us because he's already revealed to us the truth in his scripture? Now, I'm not saying that God doesn't continue to speak. He does. But we need to be faithful with what we already know and be in deep relationship with him so that we can continue to be the people he's created us to be. Hope you enjoy the reading today. God bless you.